Yesterday morning, if you asked me what my favourite race to photograph was, I would have said the 2019 German GP at Hockenheim. Not anymore. My favourite now is the 2021 Azerbaijan GP right here in Baku, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Cut that. I want to get straight into it. Yesterday's race was absolutely amazing. I know a lot of you watched it on TV, but for me, I was there. I was in front of this action. I got to see it live and photograph it for you. I'm going to go straight to the action. At 5:01 p.m, I was walking back to the tower at turn 1, and I hear on my headphones that Stroll's crashed in the main straight. Probably 600 metres away, I can see marshals on the track clearing debris. So that set the stage for what was going to be an amazing hour of activity. They restart the race, they head towards turn 1, there's a lock-up, then they all turn the corner and they go out of sight. And then I have half an hour of just keeping an eye on what's going on track. At 5:31, I'm looking to my right, and then I look back down the straight and I see Max's car with this billow of smoke behind it. So I grab my camera and I catch the tail end of his crash. Of course, we now know that his back left tyre let go. But there were only 3 of us up there photographing, so bang, I get a post up straight away so you guys can see an image of it. Then, of course, Max walks off the track, and then we hang around for, I guess it was about 30 minutes. And in that time, they bring Max's car to just behind the tower. So we get these amazing shots down. We get probably 20 minutes photographing it up close. All the marshals were around taking selfies, having a field day. And then before the restart, Max, his press officer, and his trainer walk behind the tower to the medical centre, which is situated at the top end of the track. And then we had the restart. So I've got a 600mm lens and I'm trained on the first 2, and I see, from as I see it, all the action moves to the right, and I focus on Lewis, and then of course he locks up. And then I get this amazing sequence of images with Lewis locking up, overshooting the corner, the rest of the field heading around to turn 2. Lewis goes to the rear. Who would have thought that? Lewis never makes mistakes. Of course, it may be the fact that the brakes were hot and didn't work, but of course that blew the race for Lewis, and obviously Max would have had a big smile on his face back in pit lane. And if you watched it on telly, you would have seen all of the action with Gasly and Leclerc battling for places. From there, Sergio went on to win the race. Vettel picked up second position and Gasly third. And what a dream podium. Could you imagine what the trifecta would have paid if you'd bet on that outcome? That would be huge. As soon as they'd crossed the line and we got our pictures there, it was a mad dash back to get podium. Now, normally, after that, I'd head back to the media centre and start editing hundreds of pictures. But I thought, no, I'm going to go and hang around the swipe gates. There was Max and Daniel having a chat in the middle of the media interview pen, obviously comparing notes and finding out what happened to each other during the race. Then I could see that Sergio had finished his media commitments in there, and he and the other 2 of the top 3, Vettel and Gasly, were heading towards the swipe gates to go across to the Hilton. And at some stage, Jacques Hextall-Smith, who is the press officer for Sergio, comes up next to Sergio and he grabs him in a headlock. And for probably 2 or 3 seconds, the pair clown around as they make their way towards the swipe gates. And once again, I just keep my finger on the shutter to capture every single moment of that interaction. So I ended up with quite a few photos, as you can see here. Gasly came out last, and as soon as he saw me, I got this lovely gesture with the fist here. And once again, finger on the shutter, get 20 or 30 frames, put them back to back like this, and you get a real feeling for what the emotion was like outside those swipe gates. We had Lando leave. He'd obviously got changed and was dressed in civvies. George Russell had gone to the Hilton Hotel to grab his suitcase, and he'd come back into the paddock, and he was obviously heading out on a flight that night somewhere. I then went back to the media centre to do some editing, and I think I was there till about 10:30. That's a late night. So that's why those of you looking for a live stream last night, didn't happen because of that. One of the beauties of the way that the Baku Media Centre is set up is that we're only about 40 metres away from the press conference room. So as soon as we hear the last question asked, we can dart down and catch the drivers going out, which I did. I couldn't believe the number of people downstairs. There were about 80 or so. There were supposed to be none, but all of these, I guess they were spectators or perhaps marshals who changed into their clothes, were all hankering for a glimpse of their favourite top 3 driver. But then we had security staff and all sorts forming a cordon to keep the drivers apart from the punters. Join local Facebook groups. I go skiing in Niseko occasionally in Japan, And on their local Facebook groups, people sell all sorts of stuff at very good prices. I've also found ski instructors, skiing partners, and even models for photo shoots on Facebook pages. So do your research before you leave, join those local Facebook pages, and get communicating with locals. Now I want to work backwards with the compliments of Canity.com, the world's best online staff training platform. I did the start at turn 2 and the cars get really quite close to you. You can see the buildings in the background. It's a really nice shot, lovely light. Then I went down about 40 metres to a photography hole. This is it, and it's quite frightening to shoot there because they come past at such speed. They're loud, they're very close to the wall, and the smell is amazing. I lasted about 10 minutes there, and just behind me was a crowd of people. In fact, they were all around that turn 2 area, probably 3 and 4 deep for maybe 200 metres, getting a free look at the race from a perfect vantage point. And funnily enough, this young lady even wanted a selfie with me and took some vision, so thank you to Sarah for that. Going back even further, let's go back to the grid. Carlos's hair, all over the place here, and with a long lens I decided to focus on a few of the drivers' fingernails to see what they were like, and it appears they're all very short. Continuing on the backwards route, we go back to the F2 race. I watched it on TV from the media centre, and Aussie Oscar Piastri, that's a mouthful, ended up second, so I thought I'll go out and shoot these guys after they've done their interview up in the press conference centre. And Robert Schwartzman, he was on fire. Of course, they raced single-seaters and then they were heading off in a 6-seater. I thought, wouldn't it be great if the F1 drivers were this enthusiastic when they won a race? These guys were really lapping it up, and good luck to them. On Saturday, I shot from the top of a building. This building, I think it's a museum. We got exclusive access, but it was very tricky getting up there. Lots of stairs, and then you get this spiral staircase to get out onto the roof. And you can see the helicopter in the background there. Well, that didn't run on Saturday during quali because the camera stopped working. It's an €800,000 camera, and they had to organise replacements for it in quick time, so it missed out on quali, but it was back up for the race. And that helicopter was flown from Belgium to Baku because they needed a twin-engine helicopter. And Friday I went up and shot from the top of the cinema. This is a vantage point that provides so many different photo opportunities, and it was good light. Admittedly, in past they've had the race later in the year, and hence the sun has been a bit lower in the sky and you get a bit more of a golden hour and better shadows. But still, it was great, although, as you can see here, very busy and quite treacherous. Of course, a lot of my day is filled up with driver arrivals because that's what you guys want to see. What are they wearing? What are they doing? George Russell had some Duke and Dexter shoes on that were a collaboration with Jenson Button. I had no idea that they were in cahoots together. They are. I should say that the drivers split between, I think it's 2 hotels, but there may be a third. Certainly the Hilton has the majority of the drivers. They have these drivers staying there, and these drivers choose to stay at the Marriott. But these 2 drivers came underneath the track from the boulevard. Now, I don't know where they stayed. Valtteri stayed at the Hilton, and I caught him coming in on Sunday with his girlfriend Tiffany Cromwell, Aussie cyclist, and she actually went for a cycle on one of the days. I saw her take off. But there was some chatter amongst you on Instagram about, why is Fred Vassar walking with Valtteri? Is Valtteri going to Alfa Romeo next year? So there was that sort of chatter going on. But as you probably remember, Valtteri missed most of Thursday because he was stuck at an airport in Finland. Now, he did tell me that it was a private plane that developed an issue. They couldn't fix it. They had to get a replacement. He and his trainer Antti, and I imagine, can't confirm it, his girlfriend Tiffany, were at the airport for 7 hours waiting for a flight to take off. It did in the end, and he made it to the track in the early evening. And I've still got 6 NFTs up for grabs, and you can get them by going to OpenSea and making a bid. I'll put the link in the description. You can click on it and go and have a look what's up for grabs. Let's go back to Friday. I did driver arrivals up at the Marriott Hotel, and I could just see Lewis's head above this wall. And it was obvious he was going to get on his scooter, and he was just about to push off, and he looked up and saw me, and then gave the scooter to Lloyd, his bodyguard, and proceeded to walk down the path with Angela in his Versace double denim suit, or Canadian tuxedo, as some of you have humorously pointed out to me. Now, I don't know what to read into that, but they were good photos, and I had them all to myself. And for FP1, I went to turn 16, which is the last real corner of the track, and photographed the cars coming towards me, and I was recorded. Did I say recorded? And I was recorded. No, that should be rewarded. And I was recorded. No, definitely rewarded. With Lando doing a 180-degree spin. But I think Baku has got this marvellous image now of a race where stuff happens. You want to come and see an exciting race, you need to come to Baku. It's a beautiful city. It's good value, I think, even during Grand Prix time. And when you get a race like this one that had so much drama, so much excitement, and threw up so many beautiful pictures, great stories, and a nail-biting finish, I think F1 has really got a winner in this particular track. If you like the race and you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and become a member, because tomorrow I'm putting up a couple of raw images from today's race that you can go and edit. You can find all of my digital images available for sale for personal use or editorial by heading to prostarpics.com. You'll find my 23 F1 driver photo books and some Kim Illman merchandise at kimillman.com. And for my best pics live from the track and all during the week, head to Instagram at Kim Illman. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. And then I went back to the media centre to do some editing, and I was there actually until about 1:15. What are they doing there? I then went back to the media